Good morning children. Welcome back to mathematics class. Hope you all are fine and safe and staying very well at your homes. So children, let us start today's class. This is class 10th, subject mathematics, chapter number 7, coordinate geometry, which I started yesterday, lecture number 2. And the children, content I am going to cover from NCERT. Fine students? Children, the topics which I am going to cover in today's lecture, that is lecture number 2, they are: number 1, recall the formula of calculating distance between 2 points in the Cartesian plane. Number 2, problems based on geometrical figure and the review of the properties of the types of triangle as well as quadrilateral. And number 3, derivation of section formula. This is nothing but the internal division of a line segment. Number 4, some problems which are based on section formula. For that children, I am going to take the questions from exercise 7.2 for section formula, and some problems which were left related to distance formula. For that I am going to consult exercise 7.1. Fine students? Let us give a recall to the formula of distance, finding the distance between two coordinates in the Cartesian plane. Suppose children, there are 2 points P and Q whose coordinates are x1, y1 and x2, y2. Fine, on the Cartesian plane. And I will have to just calculate the distance between P and Q. Then the formula which I derived yesterday, that formula I am going to make you recall. It was x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square, its whole under root. Children, I told you yesterday, instead of x2 minus x1 whole square, you can write x1 minus x2 whole square plus y1 minus y2 whole square also. That is also correct. For that I gave you the reason also. Fine student. So this is the formula basically to calculate the distance between 2 points on the Cartesian plane. Correct students? Now children, using the same distance formula, I will be taking some problems based on geometrical figures, and along with it I am going to make you recall the properties of the types of triangle as well as the quadrilateral. Fine. So let us start. This is from exercise 7.1, question number 6. Name the types of the quadrilateral formed if any by the given points, and you have to give the reason also. I am going to take second part. Fine. Because this part I found a little bit tough comparatively with the other parts. In other parts, when you will be calculating the distances between the given points, then easily you can judge which kind of quadrilateral it is going to be formed. Fine students? So children, the given 4 points are minus 3, 5. Let it be A. Let it be B, 3, 1. This is C, 0, 3. And this is D, minus 1, minus 4. Okay. Now, basically on the basis of distances, you have to judge what kind of quadrilateral these particular coordinates are going to be formed. Okay. So first of all, I am going to calculate the distance between A and B. Okay. So AB, I have just made you recall the distance formula. It is x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square and its whole under root. So apply this formula on it. You can consider the coordinates of A either x1 or y1 and the coordinate of B x2, y2. Fine, that depends on you. Now apply the formula. This is 3 minus 3. It would become 3 plus 3 whole square plus 1 minus 5 whole square. 3 plus 3, 6. 6 square will give you 36 plus minus 4 square will give you plus 16. Okay. So this is root 52. I have gone for the prime factorization of it. Then through there I have come to know this is 4 into 13. Because it would be actually 2 into 2 into 13. So what is 2 into 2? That is 4. And 4 is a perfect square. So can I write 2 root 3 units? This is basically the distance between 2 points, that is A and B. Okay. Now let us calculate the distances between BC, CD and DA. BC, I have been written here the coordinates B 3, 1, C 0, 3. So this is 3 minus 0 whole square plus 1 minus 3 whole square, whole under root. 3 square is 9 plus minus 2 square is plus 4. This is root 13 units. Correct? This is the distance between B and C. Now CD. For C the coordinates are 0, 3 and for D they are minus 1, minus 4. So this is minus 1 minus 0 whole square plus minus 4 minus 3 whole square. This is minus 1 whole square, that is 1, plus minus 7 whole square is 49. I have got root 50. Can I write root 50 as 25 into 2 whole root? So what I am going to get, I will be getting 5 root 2 units, because 25 is a perfect square, and when I am going to take its square root, 5 will come out. Okay. Now let us switch to the next distance. Distance between the coordinates of D as well as A point. Okay. So D is minus 1, minus 4 and A is minus 3, 5. It would become minus 1 plus 3, because minus of minus 3, it would become plus 3 whole square plus minus 4 minus 5 whole square. This is what actually? 2 square, that is 4, plus minus 4 minus 5, that is minus 9 square. You will be getting 81. Its whole under root, that is root 85 units. Correct, students? Okay. Now along with this, basically after calculating these very distances, I will have to calculate the distances between the diagonals as well. I am just going to draw a rough diagram for a quadrilateral. Please be alert. Suppose here I have given the name to this quadrilateral, that is ABCD. So children, till now I have calculated AB, I have calculated BC, I have calculated CD as well as DA. Basically I have to tell what kind of quadrilateral it is. Children, you learnt the properties in class 9th. Those properties I am just going to make you recall now. Basically on the basis of these very distances as well as the distance between the diagonals, means these distances, AC as well as BD. These are diagonals, AC is a diagonal as well as BD is a diagonal. So the distance between these very vertices, that is A and C. So what do I call it? This is diagonal. So if I am going to calculate diagonal AC as well as diagonal BD, so on the basis of all these distances, I can judge whether it is, what kind of quadrilateral it is going to be formed. Okay. So let us calculate AC now, because AC is a diagonal. So A is minus 3, 5 and C is 0, 3. This is minus 3 minus 0 whole square plus 5 minus 3 whole square, whole under root. Minus 3 square will give you 9 plus 5 minus 3, that is 2 square, will give you 4 whole under root. It is equal to root 13 units. Now let us switch to BD. BD is another diagonal. So the coordinates of B are 3, 1 and D are minus 1, minus 4. Let us find the distance. 3 minus minus 1, it would become 3 plus 1 whole square plus 1 minus minus 4, it would become 1 plus 4 whole square. That is 4 square means 16 plus 5 square, that is 25. So I have got root 41 units. Fine, students. As I have to tell on the basis of these very distances what kind of quadrilateral it is going to be formed. So just check it once. Look what I got when I calculated this AB. AB is 2 root 13. Okay. BC is only root 13. CD is 5 root 2. Fine. DA is root 85. Have you ever heard such kind of quadrilateral whose no side is equal? No. Okay, let us talk about the diagonals now. This is AC is root 13 and BD is root 41. There is no relation between the diagonals as well. So I have to look for some other relation here. So what I am going to do, while putting these distances through there, I came to know one thing. Look, if I am going to add root 13 and root 13, I will be getting 2 root 13. Correct? So here children, AC plus BC has become AB. This expression you have learnt earlier. Correct. This is the expression which is related to the collinearity of the points. AC plus BC is equal to complete AB. So what can we say? That A, B, C are collinear points. If they are collinear, it means they are lying on the same line. So there is no chance that these very points are basically going to form a quadrilateral. So what will I say? That A, B, C, D do not form a quadrilateral. Why? Because A, B, C, they are lying on the same line. Correct, students? Okay. Now, you may be thinking that why it was said in the question that whether A, B, C are going to form a quadrilateral or not, or what kind of quadrilateral they are going to form. But here it is declared that A, B, C are the collinear points, means they are going to lie on the same line. So now let us discuss rest of the properties in which basically the given points are going to form either one or the other quadrilateral. Fine, students. For example, you please keep these properties in your mind, otherwise you won't be able to judge basically which kind of quadrilateral the given coordinates are going to form. Number one, I am going to discuss about parallelogram. For example, this is LMNO is a parallelogram. Okay. You will be having the coordinates of L, M, N and O are given. Okay. So you calculated LM distance, then MN, then LO and then ON. Suppose after calculating these all the distances, you have got here root 13, here also root 13, here you have got 5 centimeter, here also you have got 5 centimeter, this should also be in centimeters. So children, what did you observe through this? You know the property of a parallelogram. Parallelogram is basically a quadrilateral in which opposite sides are equal. They are equal. So if after calculating all 4 distances, you have come to know that LM is equal to ON and MN is equal to LO. So what can you say? That this is a parallelogram. Fine, students? Okay. And one more thing you have to keep in your mind, that in parallelogram the diagonals bisect each other. That very concept basically I will be picking in my next lecture. Okay. Let us talk about the rectangle. Again, suppose you will be having 4 coordinates given of A, B, C and D. Okay. You calculated the distance AB, BC, CD and DA. Children, in rectangle also you know that the opposite sides are equal. Okay. Suppose after calculating the distances, I have come to know this is root 15. This is also root 15. I have just generally calculated the distances. After calculating the distances, I came to know that AB is equal to CD. And here suppose this is root 13 and this is also root 13. Then through this, what can you judge? Whether it is a parallelogram, though rectangle is also a parallelogram. Now definitely there should be some difference. For rectangle, children, always remember one thing, that in rectangle, the length of the diagonals are also equal. So what you are going to do, you have to calculate basically total 6 things for each and every quadrilateral. Whenever you will be having 4 coordinates given and it is said in the question that you have to tell whether it is going to form what kind of quadrilateral, then you have to calculate every time AB, BC, CD, DA, AC and BD. Suppose after finding the distance between A and C, that is diagonal AC and then BD, I have got root 22. This is not essential that every time I will be getting in under root. I may get perfect square also. Fine. Then a perfect square under root will be definitely a whole number. Okay. Then through this, what will you judge? Here the diagonals are not equal in length for a parallelogram, but for rectangle, the diagonals are equal in length. So this is the difference basically. Okay. On the basis of the property of rectangle and parallelogram. Now let us talk about rhombus. In rhombus also, you have to just calculate PQ, QR, RS and PS on the basis of the given coordinates. In rhombus, all the 4 sides are equal. Correct. But one thing you have to keep in your mind. When you will be calculating the distance SQ as well as the distance PR, they will never ever be equal. In rhombus, the diagonals bisect each other at 90, but the length of the diagonals are not equal. Fine. Now let us talk about the square. How will we come to know whether the given coordinates are going to form a square? Children, you will be having A, B, C and D. These are the points given whose coordinates are given to you. So what you are going to do, you just calculate simple distances, that is AB, BC, CD and DA. And two more things you have to calculate, that is diagonal AC and of course diagonal BD, that you are going to calculate. So in a square, always remember one thing, all the four sides are equal as well as diagonals are also equal in length. So if diagonals are also equal, all the four sides are equal. So definitely the given coordinates are going to form a square. But if only four sides are equal and diagonals are not equal, it means they will be making what? Rhombus. Correct, students? Let us talk about the parallelogram. In parallelogram only the length of the opposite side will be equal. You have to definitely calculate the diagonal for a parallelogram as well. But you will not be getting their length equal. Correct, students? Okay. Now, let us once recall the property for a rectangle. In rectangle also opposite sides are equal as they are there in the parallelogram. But in rectangle, diagonals are also equal, and in parallelogram, diagonals are not equal. So this is the difference between parallelogram and rectangle, and this is the difference, whatever I have just told you, between rhombus and square. Correct, students? In the same manner, children, when you will be having only three coordinates given, then definitely it can be demanded in the question that whether the given coordinates are going to form any triangle or not. Fine. For example, you will be having the coordinates given. Okay, what you are going to do, you just calculate the distance. Again, suppose this is PQR. I have given the name of these very coordinates. You can give the dimensions also. You can give just the coordinates also. Here this is 3, 4. This is 5, 6, for example. Okay. Now the same procedure you have to do. You are just going to calculate PQ, the distance PQ. Then you will be calculating QR and then you will be calculating PR. Now children, you know that in equilateral triangle all the sides are equal. So if you are going to get these very distances equal, so what can you say? That the particular coordinates are going to form equilateral triangle. But suppose if only two distances are equal, another one is unequal, either these two, PQ and QR, or PR and QR, then of course it will be forming isosceles triangle. Fine. Now let us talk about right angled triangle. Again you will be having the coordinates given. You are just going to calculate the distance AB, BC and AC. Then you have to check whether the square of AC is equal to the sum of the square of AB as well as BC or not. Because then and only then you can apply Pythagoras and you can just check whether the given coordinates are going to form a right angled triangle or not. Fine, student? So this was all about the recall of the concept which you already knew basically. Okay. But here I have used the distance formula. Correct, students? Okay. Now, on the basis of distances, you have to just judge whether what kind of quadrilateral the given coordinates are going to form. Fine, students? Okay. Please keep these properties in your mind. Even you can note down also these properties in your fair notebook. Fine? Okay. Now let us start another concept, that is derivation of the section formula. Children, yesterday in my lecture number 1, I told you to go through once with the derivation of section formula so that you can better comprehend it. So what is section formula basically? Before I switch to its formula, always keep one thing in your mind. See children, whenever there is a good strength in any of the class, fine, for example in grade 8, there are approximately 150 students. So children, you know very well, those 150 children cannot be taught the concept at one go while making them sit in one room. Fine. So definitely the sections are divided. Okay. In one section there will be approximately 35 students, in another 35, in another 35 and so on. Okay. So the same procedure school adopt so that there will be less strength in each and every class and the children can comprehend the concept very, very quickly, and of course the teacher can also pay heed to each and every child. Fine. In the same manner, what do you mean by section? From this word only you can comprehend the concept. Section is nothing but the internal division of a line segment. For example, here I have drawn a line segment, let it be AB. Okay. And the coordinate of AB are x1, y1 and x2, y2 respectively. There is a point P which is known as a point of division. That point is basically going to divide the line in a ratio. That ratio we do not know. So I can just place this point P over here. Okay. It can be either 2:3. It can be either 1:5. It can be either 3:2. That depends. Okay. So whenever there is any point which is just going to divide the complete line segment internally, then that very point is known as a point of division. Okay. And definitely whenever that point of division is going to divide the line segment, so it means it is going to divide it in a particular ratio. Fine. So on the basis of that, basically, we can just calculate the coordinate of this point of division. So just to find out the coordinate of the point of division of a line segment, section formula is derived. Correct? Have you understood? What do I want to say? You will be having a line segment given with its coordinate. You have to just calculate what will be the coordinate of this particular point of division which is going to divide this line segment in any of the ratio. Let it be 2:3. So there are basically two things which we can calculate. Number one, the coordinate of the point of division, or suppose you will be having the coordinate given, then we can calculate the ratio also, in which particular ratio this point is going to divide the line segment internally. Correct, students? So this is the purpose of the section formula. Now let us start its derivation. Children, yesterday also a little bit the same kind of diagram was made, but there we did not have point of division. Please have a look. This is Cartesian plane. Here I have plotted point A whose coordinates are x1, y1. Here I have plotted point B, that is x2, y2. Okay. And here P is the point of division. P is going to divide this complete line segment in the ratio m1:m2. So what can we say? That AP upon में PB is equal to m1 upon m2. Correct? Okay. Now children, the same concept which I applied for the distance formula, the same I am going to adopt over here. First of all, I am explaining you through diagram, then I will be reaching on each and every step as I explained yesterday. Okay. See, I told you how can I calculate the x coordinate of a point. Children, yesterday also I explained you how can I calculate this x1. Basically this x1 is abscissa, or I should call it x coordinate. Whenever I am going to take the distance of this point A from y-axis, basically that distance is known as x1. Fine. So what can I say? OR is equal to x1. Correct? Because you have to take the distance of this point from y-axis to calculate x coordinate. But if I am going to talk about the y coordinate, then I have to take the distance of this point from x-axis. Look here, I have written this is y1. Now let us talk about the next one. Here this is point P whose coordinate are x and y. Children, can you tell me what would be x? X is nothing but the distance of this point P from y-axis. Correct? So what can I say? This complete distance is x actually, and it means OS is equal to x. Fine, students? Okay. Let us talk about y now. How can I calculate this y? Definitely you have to take the distance of this very point from x-axis now. So what can I say? Can I say that PS is equal to y? As I explained you yesterday, in the same manner I am making you recall. Now let us switch to x2. How can I calculate x2, or where can I represent x2 on the Cartesian plane? x2, for calculating x2 I have to just take the distance of this point B from y-axis. This is complete x2. So what can I say here in the diagram? That OT is complete x2. Fine, students? In the same manner, for calculating ordinate, or I should call it y coordinate, that is what it should be, that is y2 is equal to, what can I say, that BT must be equal to y2, because you have to take the distance of this particular point from the x-axis to come to know about the y coordinate. Fine? Okay. Now after calculating all these distances, I am going to begin with the solution of the derivation of the section formula. First of all, what is given? Let A x1, y1, B x2, y2 be 2 points, and Px comma y is that very point basically on the line segment which is going to divide AB such that in which ratio? AP upon PB is equal to M1 upon M2. Then children, what can we call P? P is known as a point of division, or P is that point of division which is going to divide line segment internally. Okay, now what we have to prove? I told you through section formula we are just going to calculate the coordinates of the point of division. And if we know the point of division coordinate, we know the coordinate of the point of division, then we have to calculate ratio. Okay. So what we have to prove using section formula, first of all, we are going to calculate the coordinates of the point P. P is point of division. That is M1 into X2 plus M2 into X1 upon M1 plus M2. This is complete X coordinate. Don't be scared. We will be solving the questions based on this formula. Okay, so we will be getting just a whole number or in the form of fractions. Okay, or we may get rational number also. Okay, now let us talk about this. This is Y coordinate, that is M1 into Y2 plus M2 into Y1 upon M1 plus M2. Now you may be thinking, how would we learn it? I have the method for this also, so that you can just memorize the formula right now. Please have a look again. This is complete line segment AB. Coordinates are x1 comma y1 for A, x2 comma y2 for B. M1 ratio M2 is the ratio in which P point, which is point of division, is going to divide this line segment. If I have to calculate the abscissa, that is x coordinate of the point of division, then what I have to do? Just the first part of the ratio, that will be multiplied, means M1 will be multiplied by x coordinate of point B. That is M1 into X2 plus M2 into X1 upon sum of the ratio, that is M1 plus M2. Correct? In the same manner, M1 into Y2 plus M2 into Y1 upon M1 plus M2. Through this I have calculated ordinate. Fine. So through this we can memorize the formula. Now after to prove, I have written construction. Draw perpendicular AR, PS and BT on x-axis. Let us have a look on the diagram. AR, PS and BT, they all are perpendicular on x-axis. Fine students. Okay, now and draw AQ perpendicular on PS. AQ, this is AQ perpendicular on PS. Fine. Okay, now PC is perpendicular on BT. PC is perpendicular on BT. Fine. Now, which is parallel to x-axis? Are they really parallel to x-axis? Children, you can see this this PC is parallel to x-axis, and of course AQ is also parallel to x-axis. Okay. Now, let us switch to the proof now. Basically, I have to show these both the sheets at one go. Okay, let me explain in proof what I am going to do. I am going to prove these two triangles, that is APQ and BPC similar. APQ and BPC I am going to prove similar. Now the question arises, what do you mean by similarity? Basically, children, as you learned about the congruency of the triangle, in the same manner you will be learning the similarity of the triangles. Now, what do you mean by similarity? Two geometrical figures are said to be similar figures if they have same shape but not necessarily the same size. In congruency, children, you know that we require the same size also and the same shape also. But in similarity, the same shape is required, but it is not essential that the size should also be same. Correct? Basically, this is the concept which is related to triangle chapter that I am going to teach you later on. Right now, to learn about the section formula, you just keep one thing in your mind. As we learnt the congruency criteria for triangles, in the same manner, there are few criteria for similarity as well. So, the very first criteria I am just going to make you understand right now. That is double A criteria, or we call it as triple A also. What is there? As in congruency, you had few criteria. There were, I think, SAS was there, double AS was there, RHS was there, fine, triple S was also there. So in the same manner, there are few criteria in similarity also. You please memorize one criteria right now so that we can just go for the lecture which we have planned today. Okay, that is derivation of the section formula. What I am going to do in this, there you had the sides equal as well as the included angle was equal. Then you were going to apply SAS criteria for the triangles. Okay, here what you have to do, angles, all three angles are not equal. Sorry, all three angles are equal, or you can say that two angles are equal. If two angles are equal, suppose in these two triangles, then definitely third one will also be automatically be equal. If all the three angles of one triangle are equal to the corresponding angle of the other triangle, then both the triangles are called similar. This is the symbol for similarity. Okay, then what will be the result? Then the ratio of the corresponding sides of those two triangles which I have proved similar on the basis of triple A criteria, they will also be equal. Fine. There in congruency, children, you had basically 6 things. All the 3 sides of one triangle must be equal to the corresponding 3 sides of the triangle, another triangle, and the angles, all the 3 angles of first triangle, they are also equal to the corresponding angles of the another triangle. But here in similarity, angles will be equal but sides will not be equal. In fact, the ratio of the corresponding side must be equal. Correct? So what can I say? That ABC, suppose if I have written here the pattern also matter a lot. Remember, this is ABC. Here I have written PQR. Then what you have to do? You have to write AB upon PQ is equal to BC upon QR is equal to AC upon PR. So what do I want to make you understand basically? Whenever in any two triangles, all the 3 angles are equal, then both the triangles are called similar and the ratio of their corresponding side is also equal. Ratio I am talking about. Sides are not equal. The ratio of the corresponding sides are equal. Okay. This concept I am going to apply in the proof now. Now children, triangle AQP is similar to triangle PCB by double A similarity criteria. How it is double A? Please have a look in the diagram. This is AQP 90 degree is equal to PCB. This is PCB, again 90 degree. So AQP is equal to PCB is equal to 90 degree. And another one, please be alert. As I explained you that this side PC, when I extended it, this is parallel to this side AQ. I am going to extend this as well. Then can you tell me what would enact as a transversal? Correct. AB will be the transversal. So can I say this angle BPC is equal to PAQ? Why? Because they both are corresponding angles. Correct. So the same I have written here. This is PAQ is equal to BPC, their corresponding angle. So when two angles are equal, so automatically third angle will also be equal. Or otherwise you can go with double A criteria also. Double A and triple A are one and the same thing. So children, I told you whenever two triangles are similar by double A criteria, then the ratio of the corresponding sides of those two triangles is also equal. Now how to take the corresponding side? If here you are taking AQ now, so you have to take here PC. So have I written AQ upon PC is equal to QP upon CB is equal to AP upon PB. Fine students. So this corresponding sides ratio must be equal. Now children, I have just calculated AQ. Please look at the diagram once again. How did I calculate AQ? You please look. This is complete AQ. If I am going to subtract this OR from OS, Can I calculate RS? Of course. And this is complete going to form a square. So it means I can say that AQ is also equal to RS. So the same I have written over here. AQ is equal to OS minus OR, that is X minus X1. Now let us talk about PC. PC is equal to OT minus OS. What is PC? Where is it? This is complete PC. How did I calculate? If I am going to calculate ST, so that will also be equal to PC. Okay. So what I am going to do, this complete OT minus OS, that is X2 minus X. This here it is written. In the same manner, children, you will be calculating QP, that would be Y minus Y1, and BC, that would be Y2 minus Y1. And AP upon PB, this is, these all values I have calculated on the basis of the diagram. Okay. And AP upon PB, have a look once. What is this AP? This is M1. AP upon PB is M1 upon M2. The same I have written over here, M1 upon M2. Okay. Now I am going to put these very values which I have calculated on the basis of the diagram in this expression number 1. Let us put AQ is equal to X minus X1 upon PC is equal to X2 minus X is equal to QP, this is QP, is equal to Y minus Y1, and BC is equal to Y2 minus Y1 is equal to AP upon PB, you know, that is M1 upon M2. Now while taking first term equal to third term, because all the three expressions are equal, so you can put either of the two equal. So first and third are equal, then it would become X minus X1 upon X2 minus X is equal to M1 upon M2. While cross multiplying, I got M2X minus M2X1 is equal to M1X2 minus M1X. Okay. I am going to bring all the terms which are containing X on left hand side. So this is one term only. I brought it on this side. It is plus M1X with M2X is equal to M1X2. This will be going on right hand side plus M2X1. From here I am going to take X as common because I have to calculate the value of X. It would be M2 plus M1 into X is equal to M1X2 plus M2X1. Fine, students? So children, what is X? X is equal to M1 into X2 plus M2 into X1 upon M1 plus M2. In the same manner, while keeping second as well as the third term equal to each other, you can calculate the ordinate of the point of division P, that is equal to Y, is equal to M1 into Y2 plus M2 into Y1 upon M1 plus M2. This is basically sum of the ratios. Okay. Now, note one thing. Children, suppose if there is a line segment AB, okay, and there is a point P which is point of division and going to divide the complete line segment in the ratio 1:1. So through this you can judge that M1 is also 1, M2 is also 1. Just insert M1 and M2 equal to 1 over here. So what would be X? X is equal to here 1, that is X2 only, because 1 into X2 you will get X2 plus 1 into X1 you will be getting X1. So it would become X2 plus X1 upon 2, because 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. In the same manner, Y is equal to Y2 plus Y1 upon 2. So children, what do we call this point of division in that case when it is going to divide the line segment in the ratio 1:1? We will call it as a midpoint. And X1 plus X2 upon 2, Y1 plus Y2 upon 2, these are the coordinates of this midpoint. I am going to read it, whatever I explained you. If a point divides the line segment joining the point X1, Y1 and X2, Y2 internally in the ratio 1:1, then we get midpoint of the line segment, and the coordinates of the point of division will be X1 plus X2 upon 2, Y1 plus Y2 upon 2. Understood, students? So let us give a quick recall to learn the section formula. X is equal to M1 into X2 plus M2 into X1 upon M1 plus M2. Y is equal to M1 into Y2 plus M2 into Y1 upon M1 plus M2. Correct, students? Fine. Now children, this is the last question from exercise 7.2. Find the coordinates of the point which divide the join of -1,7 and 4,-3 in the ratio 2:3. Means we have to basically calculate the coordinate of the point of division using section formula. Okay. So let Pxy be the required point. P divides AB internally in the ratio 2:3 as it is given in the question. Okay. This is mandatory to draw this diagram. Whenever you are going to apply section formula, children, you just draw a line segment AB, show the coordinates of A as well as B, show a point of division and consider it either XY or UV, that depends on you. Okay. And you have to show the ratio, of course. But always keep one thing in your mind. Suppose if you will be knowing about the ratio, that is 2:3. So definitely this part 2 is smaller than 3. So that should appear also in the diagram. Look, AP is smaller part than PB. Correct? So AP upon PB is equal to 2/3. Fine, students? Okay. Now I am going to apply section formula so that I can calculate X as well as Y. So the formula is Pxy is equal to M1 into X2 plus M2 into X1 upon M1 plus M2. And the Y coordinate is M1 into Y2 plus M2 into Y1 upon M1 plus M2. Fine. M1 you know, that is 2. X2 you know, that is 4. Here it is given in the question only. Plus M2 you know, that is 3. And X1 you know, that is -1. Fine, students. This is 2 into -3 plus 3 into 7. I have just put the values which I had been given upon sum of the ratio. That was 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. Here also 5. Now simplify it. 2 4s are 8 minus 3 into 1, that is 3. Minus 3 upon 5. This is 2 3s are 6 with minus sign plus 3 7s are 21 upon 5. This is 5 upon 5. This is 15 upon 5. That is 1,3. So what is X coordinate, or I should say the abscissa of the point of division? That is 1. And ordinate means the Y coordinate of the point of division is 3. The same thing we wanted to calculate. So children, if you know the formula, you have to just insert the values over there. That's it for the day. Now children, this is the time to get mathematics homework. Please note down. Revise the taught derivation of section formula. This is very much important that you understand it and then you have to do it. Do question number 4, 5 and 6 first and third part of exercise 7.1 in homework notebook along with the classwork questions. And children, tomorrow also I will be taking few problems based on section formula in which we have to calculate ratio. And of course, there will be some different ratios you will be having and you have to just calculate the coordinates of the point of division. Okay. Till then, what you do along with this homework, you just once go through with the examples 6 to 10 of exercise 7.2 on pages 164 to 166 of NCERT book. Just read them. Try to understand what is done in these very examples so that the next lecture will be more effective for you and you can comprehend the concept very quickly. Once you go through with these examples, you can catch the concept very quickly. Fine, students? So that's it for the day. Please like the video and subscribe our channel. Thank you and have a nice day.